What up, family? We're in the city of New Bedford, Massachusetts right now, on the way to a deal that we're supposed to close on today. Literally, the seller's signing the closing documents in like 15 minutes. So I'm not going to release this video until we are officially on record. But what I want to show you guys today is how we are doing a deal with zero money out of our pocket. We're doing a very quick flip. This is specifically a novation agreement that we're doing. Let's go meet our junk remover guy who's there right now doing the last final things that need to be done. And I'll show you guys by the end of this video how to do a novation agreement with zero money out of your pocket. Corey.
Hey.
What's up, bro?
How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Good. I got everything that you sent photos of.
All right, cool. All this stuff, do you think you can get that as well?
I'll have to come back. There may be more extra charge. Well, how much more? Because there's still this stuff. There's still this. All in here.
Literally everything.
Pretty much the whole basement.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff down there too?
Yeah.
Would you?
That's why I asked if you think you're better off getting the dumpster, because you're paying like 3 times.
Yeah.
You're paying me doing what I'm doing now, and then you're paying an additional another $400. You already, I could have saved yourself $200.
We should have just done it. I'll be honest, I wasn't here.
Yeah.
She just sent me a couple of pictures, and obviously she didn't send enough pictures. But everything needs to be pretty much gone by the end of the day. Would you be able to come back today?
Yeah, I could come back today. I don't even know. There's still a lot of all this stuff here, stuff on the wall. Few stuff in here, not much.
Is the truck full right now?
Yeah. And there's stuff in here.
Do you think the rest of the stuff would fit in the truck if you just dumped it one time?
The paint, I don't take. Paint, they'll have to do it like they have a hazardous day, which is right down the street.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's coming up month to do it.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, bro. I didn't realize there was so much stuff. I haven't been here for like a month or so,
Yeah.
I didn't realize all the stuff she was leaving. She sent me like all the pictures that I sent you.
Yeah, I know.
And that's all that I thought that was going to be left over. The price, don't sweat the price.
Yeah.
If you can get it done today, though, that'd be great, because they need it for the closing, because the closing is this afternoon.
Yeah. And all this in here too, whatever's in here.
Yeah, just literally any miscellaneous things.
Yeah. Yeah, I could come back and do it all.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah, I could do that.
And then maybe what we could do is put all the paint stuff in the shed.
In the shed?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, let's
I
just
may
do
have
that.
to, whatever that's to charge, I may have to charge an extra fee because I end up pushing a job I was supposed to do this afternoon, and now I'm going to do it a little later. So I may charge a little extra because I'm supposed to go do a job.
Do what you got to do, bro. You're taking care of us. I
For
appreciate
future
it.
work, if anything, I got a dumpster guy, so I'm connected with a dumpster guy.
Yeah.
It's 15-yarder, $400.
Okay.
After the second dumpster, you pay $200, and then after that, you pay the weight.
Where will they go?
He comes out from Warwick, Rhode Island.
Oh, okay.
So he comes, goes everywhere. Pretty much, if I call him to here, I need it, tomorrow, he's there, the next day.
Okay, cool.
So, I'll see if I can fit a little more stuff in that truck if I can, and then I'll come back and grab the rest.
Sounds good. And then I'll get you paid by the end of the day if that works.
All right. Would you mind sending over $200 for at least for the dump so I can make that?
Yeah, I could do that.
All right.
Hey, just text me over your Zelle.
It's my number, my
Okay.
cell phone number, and then and I'll send you my name over so that way you get the rate.
All right.
All right.
Cool. Corey, appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We're gonna get back to the video in just a sec, but I gotta let y'all know, it took me 7 months to get my first real estate deal. And it took me a whole nother year after that to get to the point where we were doing multiple deals per month. I really had one problem. I simply wasn't connecting with the people that were really doing deals here. Once we got connected to the people that were doing deals here in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut, our business skyrocketed. I started doing multiple deals per month. So here's what we did. We started doing a monthly Zoom where we're doing deals with everybody here in the market. We call sellers, we underwrite deals, and my team even provides free leads to the people that come to the Zoom for those people to call. And whatever comes from it, comes from it. If an appointment comes from it, I'm gonna come on the appointment with you. If a deal comes from it, you are going to be a partner on that deal. So go to wholesalewithmike.com. We do a Zoom once or twice every single month, and that's what we do on the Zoom. You're gonna get an email and a text message. Once those Zooms come out, I'm gonna catch y'all on Zoom. Let's get back to the video. Okay, so as I said earlier, we're closing on this deal today. One stipulation on the closing was the property needs to be in broom swept condition with nothing inside the property. So none of the personal belongings, no trash, none of that. That's why we were here today with the junk remover guy. And good thing I came here because all this extra stuff is here. And if it was here, when the buyer did their final walkthrough, it would have blew up the closing. So the guy's gonna go to the dump all that stuff, come back and get the rest of this stuff out. So good thing that I came here. But what are we doing here? I wanna show you guys how we're doing this deal with zero money out of our pocket. But first, which I think is even more important, how did we get this deal? How did we underwrite this deal? How did we see that this was an opportunity? Well, first things first, this was a novation agreement. If you don't know what a novation agreement is, we pretty much agree to the seller on a price. They get that price after we maybe put some love into the property and put the property on the market. Once the end buyer comes in, whatever price we agreed upon with the seller is what they get. We cover all the closing costs, the realtor fees, and all that type of stuff. And whatever's left over is our profit. So as we were looking at this deal and looking at the numbers, we thought that that might be good. But one tall tale sign that you have a good novation agreement is when you come to the property and there really isn't much work. So we're gonna look at that right now. As you look, we're here in the living room and it really doesn't need much work. Like you got good hardwood floors throughout. Even the walls are all fairly painted fairly well. That's usually one thing that we'll do on all of our novations. We'll paint the entire house because an FHA appraiser will flag it if there's any chip paint and stuff, but we didn't even have to do that here. So when I came to this house first, I'm like, dude, this property is ready to sell to a conventional buyer or an FHA buyer right now, like with really not doing any work. And I think if we can make it work with the seller, if there's a circumstance with the seller that entails us coming in and solving a problem in some sort of way and doing an novation agreement, then we have ourselves a deal. As I'm walking the property, we're asking the seller what they're going through, how we can help, and ultimately that reveals how we can do a deal. So let's look through the property and look at really nothing that had to be done. If you look through the bedrooms, same deal. You got hardwoods throughout. Windows are decent, vinyl windows, so that's not bad. Bathrooms are decent. You know, they're not fully renovated. You don't have a brand new vanity, brand new toilet, brand new floors, brand new tub or shower, but it works. Like, it's really not that bad. So I could see a conventional buyer coming in here, maybe taking $15,000, $20,000, painting the place, maybe replacing the vanity, reglazing the tub, bringing a new toilet in, maybe put new floors in here, do some things in the kitchen, and have pretty much a fully renovated house. So what we try to do on these deals is we try to make it affordable for a first-time home buyer or somebody to come in here and just get a good deal. You know, we put it on the market at a cheap price so that the buyer comes in and they're not getting gouged on their mortgage payment. They come in here, they're able to buy a house at a cheap price on the market, and they might have to put a little bit of love into it, but it works. The conventional loan goes through or the FHA loan goes through, and they now have home ownership and they have a home, which I think is really, really dope. But even as you see in the kitchen, like the kitchen's in decent condition. I mean, they could even keep these cabinets and just paint them. Like that's probably what our contractors would do if we were fully flipping the property. We'd just take these down and paint them white, maybe put some new countertops in, new appliances. We'd be able to fix this kitchen up for a good, maybe $4,000, maybe some new floors, not even. Really, the biggest thing that you want to look at, this is even if it's a cash deal or a creative deal, whatever it is, whenever you're walking a property, the most important thing that you want to look at are the major systems that you might have to fix in the property. Some of those major systems being the structural systems, like the floor system, the heating system, and the electrical system. You look at all three of those. If those have major problems, then you got some major issues. You got some major things that you're going to have to do for renovation. If those are good, then you're looking at a cosmetic rehab that's pretty cheap. So let's look at some of the systems here. I think this is where the electrical panel was. This electrical panel is pretty good. You got 100 amps here. Here's how you see how many amps are in the property. This property is about 1,000 square feet. So 100 amps does enough to pretty much give electricity to the entire house. And you see there's a couple more slots left if they want to add anything like recessed lighting. Maybe they're going to want to add the can lights in the ceiling. They can add some circuits right there for that. And that's good. You also look at the wiring. This wiring isn't bad. You look up and see if there's any knob and tube wiring, and there's not. So that's good. Electrical looks pretty good. You got your hot water heater. This was fairly new. She told me I think this got replaced in the last like 2 or 3 years, so that's good. Your heating system right here, she said this got replaced in the last like 10 years and it looks good and it cranks. So all the major systems are good. So all signs show that this is a property that would be able to get approved for an FHA or a conventional loan. Now that you have that down, the biggest thing is figuring out what the seller is going through. You're not just going out and giving random offers and hoping that they stick. No, you're figuring out what the problem is that the seller is possibly going through, and you're tailoring whatever offer that is. It could be a cash deal, it could be a novation agreement, it could be any other creative option, or maybe just referring them to a real estate agent. Whatever it is, you just figure out what their problem is and you bring the solution. Just like when you go to a restaurant, the person that's there ordering, wanting to eat food, they look at the menu and they're like, hey, what could I go for today? I'm not really feeling steak. Maybe I'm feeling some fish. So that's what they're thinking. They're looking at the menu and ultimately they pick fish. Now it's the chef's job to go bring that order to them. That's really what we do in real estate. It's not that hard. But here's what you got to do. You got to ask the questions. You got to figure out what that is. So as I'm here in the basement, actually with the seller, like in real time, we're literally like standing right here when we were on this appointment. I'm asking the seller, like, how can I help? What is she going through? And really the biggest thing for her is she needed to move to a new apartment, but she didn't have the funds to do so. She was very limited on funds. So one thing, she didn't want to do any work to the property, and she knew that this needed a little bit of cleanup to get it on the market. She also needed the first, last, and security and moving expenses to get to the next phase of her life. So we just said, hey, why don't we give you $10,000 up front? The price that you're asking right now is too much for us to just buy it in cash in the next 30 days. So we can't, it's not going to make any sense for you to go with us on our cash option. But if we can give you $10,000 up front, then you could take that $10,000, move all your stuff out, go put first, last, and security on a new apartment, and we'll agree to a price that you get once the property sells on the back end. And we'll facilitate everything in the middle. We'll facilitate all the paperwork. Any work that needs to be done, we'll facilitate. As you see in here, the junk remover guy was there. Anything like that comes up, we'll facilitate, and you'll get the price that we had originally agreed upon, very similar to our cash deal. It just might take 45 days rather than 3 weeks. And she was cool with that. So that was the problem that we were able to solve. We were able to come in here, give her some cash up front. She was able to go on to the next phase of her life. It was super easy for her, and it ended up being a good deal. Now you're probably like, well, Mike, that sounds like you spent some money. You spent the $10,000. I just heard the guy say that he has to give you $200. Well, here's the deal. We use private money for all of our deals. So even on this deal, my wife, she's a private lender herself, and she funded the down payment that we needed to send the seller on this deal. And even the $200 that we had to pay today, we're going to get refunded by the end of the day because we're going to get paid on it today because it's closing today. So are we really coming out of pocket? Maybe $200 for a couple hours, but that's it. All the other money that we get, we borrow it, and that person is paid back on the back end of the closing. So my wife, she's a private lender herself. She has a credit line that she lends out to people, and we're one of her main clients. So whenever we need quick money for a quick rehab or EMD or something like that, it's a little bit bigger than normal. We just go to my wife and we say, hey, let's borrow a line of credit from my wife. And whenever the deal is done, she'll get paid out whatever her principal is plus the interest, keep everything kind of in-house. And we're able to do the deal with $0 out of our pocket. And that's how the deal gets done. So today, as we close on this property, the private lender gets paid back. Our $200 is refunded to us today. The private lender also gets paid back their interest. The seller gets paid her funds. The realtors get paid their funds. The attorneys get paid their funds. Everybody that's supposed to be paid on the deal gets paid their funds. And whatever's left over is the money that we get. So let's look at this real quick. Let's look at the numbers on the deal. So we come to this property, and as we're negotiating, this seller wanted to be, I believe it was at $375. Okay. I'm like, man, this $375 doesn't work because I really want to buy this property in cash at $330. So this deal would be a deal for me in cash at $330. We can close in 3 weeks, but hey, that doesn't really work because what's left over on the mortgage and stuff like that wouldn't make sense for you to move forward at that $330. So I'm not even going to really talk about that option with you. It is an option, but I'm not going to talk about it with you. I think I can get close to this $375 number if there's an opportunity for us to help you out and if it all makes sense. She's like, okay, cool. So we end up negotiating this $375 to $365. Okay. So it wasn't $375 that she got, it was $365. She gets $365. That's what we agree upon. We put the property on the market and it's sold for $425. Okay. So this property sells for $425. What comes out of this $425? Well, we have closing costs. We got commissions. Okay, after all that's said and done, let's do the math. $425, the commissions are 5%. So we're going to take 21 grand out of this, 21.25 out of this. That's for the commissions. The closing costs, they're probably about like maybe 2 grand. So we'll call it 2 grand. What does that leave us with? 23.25. So out of this 425, we got to pay 23.25. What else is left over? Well, as far as closing costs and all that type of stuff goes, there's nothing left over in that regards. But we also have to pay interest to the private lender. So there's that interest. Let's just call that interest 2 grand. So we got to pay that. The other thing we got to pay is the junk remover. That's probably going to cost us maybe $1,000. So we got to pay the $1,000. And then also we got to pay this $365. So we take the $425, we subtract the 23.25 here for the closing costs and commissions. We subtract the $2,000 that we got to pay a private lender. We subtract $1,000 for the junk remover. That brings us to $398. We subtract $365. That's what we got to give the seller. And boom, we end up with $33,000. $33.75. We'll end up making more closer to like 28 grand on this deal because what happens is once you accept the offer, so here's what happens. Here's how the transaction goes down. You have a novation agreement, right? Call this the novation agreement. Once this novation agreement is executed, you guys, you do the work and you list it. Then a new offer comes in. This is specifically for Massachusetts, by the way, because Massachusetts is a state where we go from offer to purchase and then to purchase and sale. So you have an offer here. This is where this 425 offer comes in. That 425 offer is boom right here. The next thing that comes into play is a purchase and sale. And on this purchase and sale is where we have to get paid this $33,000. In this purchase and sale, there's going to be some additional terms. It's going to say Silver Homes LLC or whoever your LLC is that's doing the deal that's on this novation agreement is to be paid out a certain amount in order to release the entity's interest in the property. That's why it's very important to have a real estate agent that knows what they're doing on the deal and an attorney that understands what's going on, because this language has to go in the purchase and sale to make sure that you're on one of these final documents called the closing disclosure or the HUD. That's where you get paid out. So this 33 goes here. But how do we come up with this 33? We have to give a rough estimate of all these closing costs and stuff. That rough estimate ended up being somewhere around like 28 grand or something after we ran it with our attorney. Whatever the seller's going to end up making, you know, an extra $5,000 to $6,000 on the deal. And that's cool with us because it was a pretty good deal. And that's how you do a deal with $0 out of your pocket. I want to do these deals with y'all. We do a Zoom every single month at wholesalewithmike.com where we underwrite deals. We talk to sellers. Actually, we've been giving out leads to the people at wholesalewithmike.com for them to call and in real time live negotiate and do deals. Literally the thousands of leads that we've been generating over the last years are brought to that Zoom, and in real time the people on wholesalewithmike.com, which could be you, call the leads, and if it ends up resulting into an appointment or a deal or whatever, we bring you in as a partner on the deal for absolutely free. So I'll catch y'all at wholesalewithmike.com, and I'll see y'all on the next video. Peace.